welcome in. It's been a little while since we've done a stream, and so we're excited to be back. We're here this week with Mike and Jen. I'll have them introduce themselves in just a second. Before I have them do that, though, I'm going to remind everybody watching to please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any interest in coaching in any way, and we're talking about life coaching, I mean, any facet of coaching that is not sports coaching, but I think sports coaches could still benefit from some life coaching. So any coaching in any way, feel free to like and subscribe to our channel because we are putting out content very often that is helpful. And we're always looking to enrich the lives of our viewers and help them in this coaching space. So please like, subscribe, and comment. Even if we are commenting and we're not live, we will respond to your comments. And so we would love to hear from you. Don't forget to share too. Press that share button. It's a very good button to press if you want to support creators like us.
Just practice it. Everybody just practice it. Just do it.
Just practice, yeah. Just if you've never done it before, it's just a button. You just push that button, and then, whoo, look at that, so easy. Okay, I'm gonna hand it over to. Let's start out. We'll go ladies first. Jen, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yes, hi, I am Jen. God, I wasn't expecting to do an intro. I'm sorry, that caught me off guard.
Who am I again?
Who am I? Yes, I am. PCC. I am a professional certified coach through the ICF, credentialed life coach, although I don't call myself a life coach. And we will get into that. That's going to be something we talk about. And I'm also one of the mentor coaches here. So I help you refine your coaching to meet ICF standards so you can earn your credential like all three of us on the panel today. So yeah. That's it for me.
All righty. Next up, we have Mike James.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is like we're coming back from summer break. So y'all are back in school now because we're back. Mike James, and I'm an associate certified coach, credential with the ICF, and also one of the facilitators here at CLCI. And Brooke, really quick, I just wanted to add a little sauce into what you said. I say this in class often. I wish I knew the coaching skills that I know now when I was a full-time personal trainer. I always say y'all probably wouldn't see me in class because I would probably be on TV somewhere or celebrity trainer because the skills are so important. So when you said that, the sports coach and all that, just communication and the content, the classes, all the things that we share, I think is good for anybody. So yes, share and subscribe. And that's me.
Amazing. So today we have a plan. We are talking about some coaching industry trends. We do have 3 on the list today. And this is we like to share our reference and our research. So this is pulled from an ICF article. ICF is our accrediting body, and we're going to talk about all 3 of these things. I think we're going to talk about 2 of them more than one of them, and that'll get us right into it. So the first thing, the one we're going to sort of graze past, right? We're going to talk about quickly is AI in coaching, and I'm just pass this on over. Mike, I think you had a plan in this space, so let's go ahead and pass this over to you.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, as Brooke said, kind of grazing over this, particularly because the article that we're referencing from the research here that we're talking about, we actually did 2 of our previous lives before our little summer break around that. And really 2 things in terms of AI and coaching. The first thought of like AI replacing coaching, dum, and will it? And then the second thought is like the uses for AI and the tools. So of course, again, there's a live we did 2 months ago on the second part in terms of using it as a tool and a resource for coaching. And then we did a live 3 months ago where we talked about the possibility in that question, discuss kind of whether or not AI would replace coaching. So just again, from that, adding a little bit of what the article was talking about, basically in a nutshell, from just my perspective, is that on one hand, we know AI is pretty much here to stay for the immediate future in the time being. And so it's that thought of will some people use AI and just say that coaching alone? Specifically, the article was talking about where there's some people, maybe a small population of people, that feels like there's completely no judgment, even when it's compassionate coaches that do not have that judging at all, which should be the majority, right? But even in that space, some people may feel more comfortable in that. But for the most part, nothing can replace that human connection, right? And then just on the second note, of course, we talked about, like I said, in detail in our that live a few months ago, just so many different uses where AI could probably help you in your coaching and kind of be that assistant really that we've been looking for, where it's almost like you're not totally getting a second version of you, but to help you with some things, automations and things like that. And we talked about some of the ways that we are using it in our particular coaching practices. So I think that's kind of the overall summary in terms of the topic around AI and coaching.
And Jerome, our man behind the scenes, is going to be linking those to YouTube, those blogs we did a couple months ago, so that way they're easy to find. So check the comments and check the comments or the description on this, and you should be able to find those YouTube links there. And Jen, is there anything you want to say about AI? I don't know if there is.
Yeah, briefly, sure. So I think one, and this is just speaking from personal experience, right? One of the most useful ways that I found AI to enhance my coaching is the AI summary that can be provided at the end of the call. Now, granted, there are things that go into this, such as consent, right? You want to have written consent, you want to have verbal consent, and you want your client to know that at any point in time, they can remove that consent. And I will not record the session. We will not have an AI summary. I am not attached to it in any way. However, if it can benefit the client and the client chooses to have it, it can be a really useful tool. I've had some summaries recently where I read them afterwards, and I usually tweak them a little bit just to kind of make sure it has the language that my client uses and the language I use with my client. Sometimes it's a little off. And I was just really blown away with how much it captured and how it encapsulated it, like the way it put it together. And I've been getting really great feedback from clients too, the ones who want to use it. And it's, I think, probably the simplest way to get started using AI to enhance your coaching. So I wanted to mention
with little to no knowledge, right? Yeah. That's the one I talked about, Jen. I was like, that's probably the easiest accessible AI support that you can have, is that summary. And of course, like you said, it's consent, but that's one of the things I talked about in terms of what I do like about it is, and Jen, I don't know if you agree with this, it breaks it down kind of in that coaching container, like a coaching conversation. It talks about takeaways, and then it breaks down what was discussed. So I really like it because it mirrors kind of how we talk about the natural flow of that coaching conversation. So that's what I like about it. And to your point, what you said, Jen, is one of the things I tell my clients is like, it's AI summary. So again, it's some loose things. And I always like to say, I may add some asterisk at the end if I see some things off, because early on that was for me as well. And I've been using it probably since it started. And I realized, like, wait, that's not exactly how it could be worded. So that's the thing, which it goes to the whole point around AI is not a replacement, it's a support. And that's one of the things that article that we are referencing did talk about, the fact of coaches who do not stay abreast to what it is and just ignore it, like it's going to go away, but using it for your advantage and knowing, like we talked about, you're using a summary, make sure you look it over to see if it's accurately summarizing what was said, so it can support you and your client. So yeah, I think that's really the gist of that in terms of when we talk about AI. In a nutshell, use it to support and help, of course, for the people who will choose that route and say, hey, I'm just going to do my friend AI, whatever service they use, that's going to be my coach. Okay. But people still need that human to human connection, and you cannot replace that no matter how hard you try. So
I have a brief story about that. I actually used AI recently to coach me on something specific, and it was useful. But when I got to the end of it and I had connected a bunch of dots and stuff, I realized like I felt weird that I had just worked with AI to do what I had done. And it left me really questioning, like, how often do I want to do that? I didn't leave it the way I would leave a coaching session. When I leave a coaching session, I am feeling electric. I am feeling warm. I'm feeling connection. I'm feeling all the positive chemicals and, emotions, all of it. And this was different. This was like, ooh, is that okay? Like, I had this weird, like, icky feeling. Like, I don't know if I should have just done that. And so to me, that was a really big indicator of how, if someone isn't aware of that, like if you've never worked with a coach or something and you don't understand, like, that feeling is very different from the potential feeling that you walk away with. Yes, it helped me. It helped me connect dots, but it did not give me the things that a real coaching session gave me. And that was very clear. So yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to share that.
Yeah, that question bubbles, like, was this right? So yeah, I like that. Human connection, people.
Yeah.
I love those points. I love that we are using it, not relying it. We're using it as a tool, and that's where it sits. And I think the reality is, when it comes to technology, it's coming whether we like it or not. And so it's our choice to integrate it and see if it makes our lives easier, and it's something we want to use. And I think of it as a tool, and sometimes that tool is relevant, sometimes it isn't, sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't, and it's as easily traded out as any other tool. Moving into our second topic today, which is specialization as an advantage. And I'm going to just turn it right over to you guys here. So specialization as an advantage. What does that mean? Because right now, if I didn't know, I know what it means. But if I was just tuning in or just figuring it out, that to me is a little bit vague. So I'll let you dive on in. Mike, you want to go first?
Jen, do you want to start, since I started last time? And that way, maybe I won't steal your thought or something.
Yeah, sure.
And I can add some. I'll let you start it.
Sure. So specialization is why I said I don't call myself a life coach. I did in the beginning when I first started coaching because I didn't know what else to call myself. But once I really got into it, I realized who I am as a coach, and the person that I can have the most impact with it's a very niche thing. It is not, it's not this broad. Yes, of course, I still will take people who want general life coaching just because they sometimes every now and then are like, I really like the way you say things. Would you coach me on this? I'm like, yeah, sure. But in general, my niche is coaching women on their relationship with food and their relationship with their body. Now, that is a very, very specific thing. I'm not going to reach someone who just wants health coaching. I am reaching the person who's probably already gone through health coaching, who's probably already gone through therapy, who's probably gone through all of the things like me. I'm experiencing this and realized, hey, I have to find my own way. And I would be coaching the person on that specifically. And it's about the relationship. It's not necessarily about, hey, do this and you'll get these results. That has never worked for me. I don't think that really works for anybody, a prescriptive thing. And so it's more about, how do you think and feel about those things? And what can we fine tune? And what do you really want ultimately? And does this thing that you're being prescribed actually fit in with what you want? So specialization, there's so many different forms of it, obviously. And we talk about this in our classes. Definitely we go into this. You are going to be able to impact certain people more because of who you are. My line of questioning is very different from someone who doesn't have the lived experience that I have. So there's nothing that somebody can bring up in a session that gets by me, because I've already done all this work on myself. I've already gone through, decades of doing this on my own. So I know all the nuances, all the intricacies, and I know how to keep going deeper in places where a lot of people would just stop and take it as, oh, that's what it is. No, I know better because I've lived it. And so that's where the difference comes in, is what have you lived, or what have you experienced, or what are you educated in that gives you that leg up to where your line of questioning, you're noticing the things that come into your awareness in the session add more value to the person you're in front of. That's the specialization that I believe we're talking about. But you tell me.
Jen, that was, oh my goodness. You know how they say cherry on top? That was the dessert, the cherry on top. So I may just provide some plastic utensils to eat it.
Oh my God.
No, honestly, when you were explaining that, Jen, I was thinking like that. Oh my God, if I can just take that clip, I don't even know how long that was, their explanation. I don't even know if it's possible. If I could just play that when we talk about the importance of being specific with your messaging, that right there sums it up. Because when you were talking, I kind of dived into what you were saying, and it made me think about the person you're speaking to. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not even that person. But if I was, I want to talk to Coach Jen. And you mentioned so many things too. Part of that, knowing specialization, right, versus just being very general and broad. You can go deeper. And that's something you said as well when you were explaining that. You can go deeper and go to what matters. And that's a lot of the things that coaches are afraid of starting out, right? They're afraid to go deep. They're afraid to go. And if you're not connecting to your client and know what your specialty is, right, it's going to be harder to do that, right? Because you're uncomfortable. It's like, oh, those are unfamiliar waters. So it made me think about everything you said, Jen. It made me think about what I say when we get to that point in class. I say, coaches, listen, if you try to help everybody, you can wind up helping nobody, right? Because you start to water down your message and your effectiveness. And the other thing about that is, it's in a saturated market, coaching is growing, right? What is going to, what I like to say, cut through the noise, right? Cut through the noise of tomorrow. Everybody can wake up and say, I'm a coach. Let me help you. Let me help you welcome that best version. But what's going to cut through the noise is your specialty. And this is what we talk about. We say specialization. And that's one of the things that, again, referencing back to the article that we are talking about from the blog with the ICF, that's what is going to separate you. And now what organizations and clients as well are looking for. You know, if I have a certain problem, right? And Jen, I want to go back to your example. If I am that woman and I'm looking for someone to help me, and I just see, you know, general, and I see life coach, I'm like, I don't know what that means. But when I see and read what you said, I'm like, oh my goodness. It's literally, it gets to that point of shut up and take my money, because I know you can help me, because you just spoke directly to me. I hear nothing else. I hear you because you're talking to me, obviously. So how are you in my journal? How are you in my life right now? That's the importance, right? That it really just separates what you do, and it creates not only effectiveness, but your efficiency as well. You're more efficient, right? And that's when you get to the point where, and I don't know if you would agree with this statement, Jen, where you work smarter, not harder. It becomes part of that thing where it's like, okay, something you said as well when you were explaining, like, I know this because I've done it and I'm experiencing it and I've come through the things. So even the things that hold you back. The last thing I'll say is another little plastic utensil for y'all to eat away at that dessert that Jen laid out, is the other part of it. And this is something else I say in class, right? When you are talking about your coaching and effectiveness, all these things, right? Now, when you sit down, a lot of times your audience and your specialization is going to match your passion, that thing that you're most passionate about, you know, that story. You know, it's an exercise that we do in class where it brings up that passion, you know, not to spoil it, take the class if you want to know more, but it brings up that thing where it connects to that passion in an instant where it's like, oh, that's it. Because a lot of times that's one of the things coaches are not sure when they start the class too. It's like, what is my niche? What is my specialty? What am I going to specialize in? How am I going to help people? Or how can I help someone more than everyone else. And so I think that's important. So for coaches out there, and think about it for any other, right? Any other field, any other industry, right? We're talking about this for coaching, but with any industry, the more you can specialize what you do, you create a level up, right? You create a level up from just the title of whatever industry you're in. So I think this is across the board in terms of knowing what that looks like, because just with ICF credentialed coaches alone, we're talking about over 50,000. So if everybody was just 50,000 life coaches, credentialed life coaches, that's totally different. But I can guarantee you of that 50,000, the vast majority have a specialty.
Amazing.
I'd say those were more than plastic. Those were more than plastic.
I mean, but it was really dessert you just laid out. I was like, oh my God, I promise you, I don't know how. I'm gonna talk to Sam. It's like, Sam, we need to take a clip of that or something.
You'll be able to go back and rewatch it.
Yes, absolutely.
And just to quickly, we'll throw some sprinkles on top right now. And this is just as somebody who has spent years discussing this very topic with people, it is people have specific problems, and the way to we also tend to buy solutions to those problems when we're being affected emotionally, right? And that tends to be when we start shopping and looking, and it's because it's reached a point that I'm having an emotional reaction about a very specific problem. And an easy way to think of this is like if I am somebody and I recently I'm over 40 now. Your eyes start to go when you're over 40. So I'm sitting in front of my computer screen. I'm getting headaches. I can't read. It's making working hard. I'm getting frustrated. So my solution is to go to my optometrist, right? Who has a specialty. It's a doctor with a specialty that does a very specific thing. And that's who I'm going to go to. And I pay that optometrist, right? And that optometrist makes a little bit more money. But let's say I have an advanced problem. I've got something that's even more. And so then that optometrist is going to send me to somebody that's even more specialized. And that even more specialized person probably makes more money, right? Because their specialty is even smaller. So something to consider. People come in and they're like, I want to coach everybody. Well, a GP probably makes the least out of money out of all the doctors out there. But as you start to get into specializations, when it comes to doctors, they start to make more money as you go up that ladder. So the more specific you are, the more ability you have to speak into somebody's problem and what they need to solve, the more capable you will be of charging a little bit more than your generalized coach. And I know that's not like, when we talk about money, it's not like a passion, like I don't feel passionate when I'm talking about money, but like that is just the reality of the way things work. And if I'm person spending money, maybe for life coaching, I'm like, I don't know what that does. Maybe I'll throw a little bit of money at it. Maybe I'll try, but it's not going to be a lot of money. But if you are going to, help me in a very specific way, if you're going to help me feel better in my own body so that I love myself and I can wear a pair of shorts and feel confident and not insecure, okay, let's do that. I'll give you money for that. You know what I mean? Like people have specific things that they want to solve. And that's where people will be more inclined to spend a little bit more money. And that's the sprinkles. And I feel like we covered that topic pretty good. I think we can move into topic number 3, which is coach-like leadership in organizations. I like how it said, I'm gonna fix that, right? Organizations. And I'm going to hand this on over. Mike, do you want to start this one since Jen started?
I'll start this one. So when I think about this, I think about one of my favorite coaching authors and speakers. I did what was it? The coaching summit last summer, and I got a chance to see him speak. But a shout out to Michael Bungay Stanier, because his books are leadership books, but he applies the coaching principles and practices to it, and that's why I love it. And it makes me think of absolutely one of my favorite coaching books. So we're talking about coach-like leadership. this is one of the things too that helps drive the point home of why coaching skills are so important. Because when we cover this in class and we talk about this, people assume, right, that you have to be a certain type of, well, if I'm going to be working with leaders and executive coaching, it's got to be different. It's got to be this, and that. But the leadership part of it and getting to know the people, that's why coach like leadership is so important, because now you're highlighting that human, the compassion, when you're talking about the person in front of you versus all these other things. So when you can apply, now I'm going to investigate what's going to make you a better team member. Now I'm going to investigate and I'm going to think about, okay, I'm going to ask myself the questions, because now I can self-session is what I like to say. I can ask myself the questions as a leader, right? Some of those powerful coaching questions in terms of what am I doing effectively? What do I need to change? So I think when we apply this across the board, not just in organizations, but when you think about in whether it's personal, professional relationships, teams, different things that you're doing in terms of community work, right? So, and this is why I like to expand it as well. So people know that, again, back to what we started at the top, to connect and subscribe and follow us, because a lot of these skills and things that we talk about can be applied across the board. So leadership now, it kind of goes off the last thing we talked about, specializing in that. Now organizations are looking for, hey, how often do you apply coach like leadership to your profession, to your practice? Maybe this will help you get a leg up the next time you're looking for that position, right? Or to get a position, you're working on your LinkedIn and now you're looking to get this new job. Coach like leadership, looking into that. So I think it makes you more effective, because now it's not, you take away some of the, I don't know how to say this better than just some of the ego and narcissism from leadership, when you can apply coach like, practicing and coach like leadership to that. And I think it just makes it more, a more effective team, whatever or group, whatever you're leading in terms of leadership.
Yeah, I think it's, first of all, Mike, I just want to ask you, what's the real challenge for you here?
Oh, come on. My favorite question, by the way.
Your favorite question. I knew it.
In the 7 powerful asking questions. That's my favorite one. That's crazy.
Okay.
See, y'all?
Okay. Yeah. So I just think back to literally every job I've ever had. And I think, God, if I only understood coaching, if I only understood how to be curious and how to ask questions and how to actually listen, and then how to ask them questions that would allow them to solve their own problems. When I managed a salon and spa, that would have made my job so much better. That would have made every employee's job so much better. But I didn't have that skill set. I didn't know how to do that. So instead, it was just prescriptive. It was like, okay, here's what you need to do. Go do it. Here's what you need to do. Go do it. There was never any curiosity. There was never any listening. There was just never any empowerment. And so if you are going into any position where you have to lead, where you have to manage, where you have to interact with other human beings, customer service even, and you have the ability to coach, to ask curious questions, and to help somebody solve their own problem, you are going to be so much more impactful. And like Mike said, that is being looked at. That is being looked for now. It's not enough just to have your resume stacked with positions. Do you know how to coach? Is that a skill set that you hold? Do you bring coaching into your positions that you've had? Are you bringing coaching into this company, into this organization? It's just going to continue to grow. The word has gotten out that real productive companies don't come from, just being told what to do. It comes from actually giving somebody the opportunity to explore and understand themselves better, and then take their next steps. And so we have that ability with the coach training. And you don't have to necessarily start your own business. You can take the skill set as a certified coach and you can put that on your resume and you can bring that into every single job. And you're going to be that much more valuable when you sit in front of someone and share that's something you bring into your skill set.
Yeah, you said a word too, Jen, that really like drove it home when I talk about the coaching, but even in leadership, empowered. Like you can create empowered, not enabled teams, right? And organizations, right? Because from a standpoint of like prescriptive, another word you use that's like, just tell them what to do, this and that. You kind of create a team that's enabled as well, right? Because now if you just stop barking orders, then I'm lost. What did I do? But when you highlight, what are your skills, right? Oh, you said it. When I was in management and co-ownership and personal training, the personal training industry years ago, oh my goodness. Again, thankfully, I didn't have these skills because I probably wouldn't be sitting here in front of y'all today. I would be somewhere else. But the skills, I think about it, and it's so funny how, back to when I first got certified, I was like, oh my goodness, if I had these skills a few years ago, wow, what could I have done with it? So I think that's the operative word there is that empowerment. And if you're a leader, who doesn't want an empowered team? Who doesn't want an empowered staff, an empowered group that's functioning on all, in all areas? And in order for me to do that, sometimes I got to get beyond just, again, like I say, the ego and I'm going to just tell people what to do. And that makes me feel strong. Yeah. You're going to be stronger and be more effective when you start to see every individual and you apply, again, these coaching skills and that big word that shed, the curiosity of like, what's going to make you be more involved on the team. And I think of, again, like you said, every job and every position I had, even my last, before I left the personal training industry full time, my last position, I was like, oh my God, my manager's like, oh, you needed some coaching leadership skills because whoa. So yeah, it helps. It's just so effective across the board.
Yeah. I almost wonder at some point, do we see coaching and leadership become completely intertwined and there's not one without the other? That would be amazing. Actually, imagine a world where that was the case.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be great. Unfortunately, it's more like a dream than anything like this far-fetched wish, right? But it would be amazing. And I think where we see the biggest the change in that, Jen, is I think when we see the organizations and the teams that are going to thrive more is those that are doing it, because we're seeing it more, right? This is again why I talked about it being one of the trends to know about as coaches, because it's useful. And one of the things, just to piggyback off of one of the things you said too, I tell this to coaches is, even if you're not going to start your coaching practice, applying the skills, right, can help you across the board, even like just personal connections and relationships. So that really getting beyond just what my title is, my role, but applying that coaching curiosity and going beneath the surface. I like to say peeling back the layers of the onions. I think it just can be effective across the board. And so that's the beautiful thing, where we do see that, a good bit in classes where we have teams and organizations say, listen, well, my team, we're the last two on the team to take the class because we heard how good it is for the skills and resources. So I'm like, yes. And I just had that happen in a class like 2 classes ago last month. So I think it's just so important and effective as we, see this expand more. Coach-like leadership, I think it's here to stay. And the more we can use that, the more we can see some productive growth in teams and organizations.
And when we're talking about coach-like leadership, we're talking about, I think leadership, the shift is from this idea of telling, and I have all the answers because I am the leader. And my knowledge trickles down, power trickles down to everybody else, to this ability to empathize and communicate. And then through conversation and through coaching skills, be able to pull the best results out of your team. And that's done through being curious and asking questions and having that empathy. And in that, the result is your team feels heard and they feel understood and they feel like they're doing what they love to do, or I mean, it may not always be what they love to do, but they know that they feel heard and that they'll get through this, because at some point they're going to get to do something they love. And if you are a leader and you don't know what your team enjoys doing and hates doing, excels at doing, and isn't good at doing, that's going to be a detriment. And then also how they work together and jive together and what motivates them. All these things come up when you start to use coach-like leadership. And it's really like the ability to get to know your team on a deeper level, so that then they can work to their strengths and from a place of feeling motivated and excited to show up and do the job. And that's really the power in that shift. The power in that shift is from that. It's not just that these coaching tools are magic. It's that the coaching tools allow us to understand the people we work with so much better, and then hopefully tailor the work to their strengths, and also get the teams to understand one another better as well. So
it's co-creating the success is the way I see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think too, when we talk about it as well, one of the first major coaching skills, which I think is so effective with leadership, if people would do it more, is listening. Right? Like, who doesn't want to be heard on their team, in their organization, right? So I think starting from there, back to what Brooke said, is just, now I can get more production, I can get more buy-in, all of the things, right? When you have a leader that is listening to you, it's like, oh wow, you're interested in what I think about this, right? To maybe the person who wouldn't even think twice, right? So I think, just again, across the board, this is just effective in terms of applying some of the skills and tools to help, right? And we can take it back to where we started. I think for the most part, it's a great addition. Even if you're not thinking about it, it's a great addition to leadership if you are a leader in any facet, right? So I think it's something to definitely look into in terms of the coaching skills and the coaching tools, and as we progress.
Sorry for the delay. My mic, I was muted. So I think we have gotten through our 3 coaching trends for 2026. Thank you so much, Mike, and thank you so much, Jen, for being here. We appreciate you and your presence. I really, really appreciate you lending your knowledge and experience to this discussion today. And for those of you out there watching, stay tuned. Tune back in. We are live every other week at 3 p.m. And if you can't make the live broadcast, that's okay. Just watch it later. And in the meantime, if you want to learn how to coach, if you want to become a part of this community that is coaching, then please check out our school, CertifiedLifeCoachInstitute.com. We would love to have you join us. And I think that is all. Thank you so much.
Thank you for hosting, Brooke.
My pleasure.
Good to see you guys.
We'll be back in 2 weeks. Our topic in 2 weeks. Let me share really quick what our topic is in 2 weeks.
Fine.
I don't have it memorized. I'm just going to pull it up right here. We have Sam coming down to join us on our next live in 2 weeks. And Sam is going to be sharing 3 business concepts every coach should understand. So we'll tease that out there to you. Tune in 2 weeks to find out what those 3 concepts are.